are going to learn how to authenticate and authorize .NET Core application using JWT. JWT stands for Json Web Token, commonly known as JWT token. These are open protocol which is used to transmit compact data between parties in JSON format and used for authentication. JWT tokens are easy to generate, integrate, read, and pass. JWT tokens are portable, self-contained, and don't need any server-side storage. As we know, some other authentication schemes, such as session, require storage on the server side. It can be in memory, in database. So, uh, compared to JWT tokens are self-contained and don't require any kind of storage on the server side, because machine can simply validate those and authenticate or authorize based on the token itself. So how that's possible? For that we have to explore like how JSON Web Token is built. So JWT token has three parts: header, payload, and signature. The header contains information about authentication schemes such as uh, HMAC SHA-256. The payload is simply a JSON format data, right? It can be standard properties. It contains standard properties and also some custom data that we can pass to that we can use here and pass to the clients from server, right? Such as name, user email, roles, etc. It also contains some other standard information such as expiration time, etc. And signature, this is used to to validate the token if it has not been tampered with. So these are the three parts here, and each part is base 64 url encoded. So and separated by period. So first, like, the header is encoded in base 64, and payload is encoded in base 64, and the signature is encoded in base 64 url safe, and then those are separated by periods and just returned as a single concatenated strings, combined strings. um, so here, one thing is important to notice, that the payload is encoded and not encrypted, right? That means the token can be easily decoded and read if someone can get it easily, right? So let's see here, like, this is a sample jot token here, and using this site we can decode it. So here is the decoded jot token, and as we can see, it contains like header, payload, and signature. So the header tells about algorithm and token type. So this is jot token, and the algorithm is HS256. The payload is simply JSON data by key value pair and contains some most important information like expiration time, issuer, audience, and some custom token data can be there, like the name, email address. So these are like of three types: public, registered, and private. um, so yeah, that's about the jot token. So even though jot token is very popular for and used for authentication, but still, like, it has some drawbacks, so we should be aware about those one. So if someone hijack the token, then it can be easily used to impersonate a user, right? For example, I exchange my, I am logged in on some site, and it's using jot token mechanism, and if I grab the token by any means, right, and share with the other user, that user can impersonate, based on how the implementation is done, right, client side, how it is being stored and used. Based on that, it can be impersonated. So also, like, the jot tokens are stateless, like, right? So um, that simply means, like, when user logs out, it will be removed from client side, but still the token is valid. It has been removed from client side, but the token is still valid until it is not expired. So we should keep those expiration time very short, and use like refresh token mechanism. Otherwise, like, it will be very challenging to invalidate those. If those are not, like, let's say the token is having expiration time 1 year, user logged out, but still the token can be used again. So that we have to always take care or think about whenever we using jot token based authentication scheme. So let's check how to implement our authentication in .NET Core application. So let's jump into the code. Here I have two applications. Basically, one is Web API, another one is class library. Simply, I'm just showing here how to generate the jot token. So as we know, like, it contains three parts, right? The header, payload, and signature, and each part is base 64 encoded. So first we have header object, and simply we convert to byte, and then base 64 URL encoded. Simply we do with the payload JSON object here, payload object, right, and convert it to first then convert it to JSON, and then also base 64 URL encoded here, and then we do the same thing with the signature. And then finally, once these are generated, we just join them using a period, right? So this is how under the hood JSON Web Token is generated. We can just simplify it using a few lines of codes in .NET Core, right? So all we need is we use this class to generate the token, and then this handler to serialize the token object here. So just few lines of code, and we can generate the jot token JSON string here, jot token string, right? So how to do that in the .NET Core Web API project? So I already created the project here. Simply we have to add get package reference. So we will add this package reference here first, and then we go to program.cs. Before that, we have to define some configs here. So issuer, audience, secret key, and the this another subject variable here we will define, right? And now we go to program.cs and just start adding the services. As we know, we will add authentication service here, and just configure it for to validate, configure it to use this scheme, right? Jot bearer scheme. And then a validator, which will some configuration to validate the token. So we will validate issuer, audience, lifetime, right? Signing keys, all of these things. And since we are using Swagger, so we also have to modify like Swagger service and some configuration so that it can accept input field to add the bearer token, right? So we will add the security definition and security requirement here, these two configuration. So now we already added the service here. After that, we will just define the authentication. To use the authentication, we'll add this line, use authentication, and make sure like this will go before the controller hits, right? So the authentication and authorization should be used before controllers here. Now, to generate the code, we have a service called token service, and it is using it has a method called create token, accepting two parameters here, arguments name and email. So as we know, like this is just few lines of code. This We have to create class instance of jot security token. So this class requires issuer, audience, claims. So let's stop standard claims and expiration time and signature, right? And just this will then generate the token. And then we will use we'll also register this class as a token service here, as a scoped service, and then simply use in the controller here to generate the token upon login, right? So I already some did some hard coded stuff here. So email is this one, and then password. We have to do pretty much all of the basic business logic for, but for video purpose, just using these hard coded values and assuming like everything is good, then finally we are generating the access token. So in standard real world applications, in enterprise applications, we have to check all of the business logic, and if something is not provided, then obviously we have to validate and fail, and then finally generate the token if login is successful and if credentials are matching. So then we return the token. And to use the authorization to protect our API endpoints, we have to decorate the API endpoint, API controller, using this authorized attribute here. So let's see this in action. I am going to run this project. All right, this has been launched. So now the Swagger is loaded here, and first we will try this endpoint, right? So this is simple get endpoint to get weather forecast. So try it out, execute, and this has thrown like status 401. So the authentication has been failed here, right? So to do authentication, we will try it out and just use that same hard coded email and password to generate the jot token. So the jot token is generated. I will simply copy this one and use the Swagger here to authenticate. Now I will hit this endpoint again, right? So this time I'm getting the response. So that's all about JSON Web Token, jot token, and use the jot token to implement authentication and authorization in .NET applications. That's all for today. Uh, Hope you liked the video. Please share, like, and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.